I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is Rough Water. And that is because all of us could be running into rough water in the next week, because there are 8 planets that are harshly squaring and opposing each other. So that can lead to traumatic situations. However, problems will still be solved. Things will still get settled, and that is because there are also 8 planets that are trining each other. There are 4 planets in the earth signs that are trining each other, and there are 4 planets in the water signs that are trining each other. So even if you are encountering some people who are sort of losing it right now, or who could be very angry, at the same time, there are other people around that are saying, wait a minute, we've got to sort of get down to business, or we've got to get back to basics and just sort of keep going anyway. So the rough water that you could run into is due to the fact that of the 8 planets that are in harsh aspect, 5 of them are only in cardinal signs. And that is because Mars, the Moon, and Mercury are all in Cancer, and the Moon rules Cancer, so it's very strong there. And they are all opposing Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, which are going retrograde or backward. And because these strong planets are opposing each other, and 2 of them are malefic planets, Mars is one of them and Saturn is the other, and so they are coming head to head. What that means is that some of that rough water you could be running into might be due to the fact that parents are not getting along. The Moon rules women or mothers, and Saturn rules fathers or authority figures. Ooh, and they're opposing each other. So parents could be in a disagreement right now. But also, there can be financial matters or some sort of financial reward that has been set up or promised in one way or another that could be postponed or delayed due to an injustice, because Mars is opposing Pluto in Capricorn as well. And Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, and Scorpio rules money coming in from any other source. So that could be up in the air and meeting some stiff resistance. And then there can also be a change in leadership or a change in budgets among top management in large groups or corporations or government agencies. And that is because that Mars is also opposing Saturn in Capricorn. So those 5 planets can lead to disagreements and rough water in the coming week. But at the same time, there are another 3 planets in mutable signs. And the mutable signs are generally very agreeable and flexible, and they can see somebody else's point of view, but they're not in the mood to do that in the next week. And that is because the Sun in Gemini is opposing Jupiter, which is retrograde in Sagittarius, and Neptune in Pisces is squaring both of them. And Neptune in Pisces rules things hidden behind the scenes. So it may be difficult for you to know who to trust. It can be that someone is saying that they want to do something for you, when actually they could have a hidden agenda and be planning to do something against you instead. So it would be a good idea in the next week, before you believe everything you hear, to verify it from an independent source. You know, check your information before you believe anything. And then because the Sun and Jupiter are opposing each other, and in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius rules higher education and the courts, there can be some matters involving policies and procedures in higher education that have to be re-examined or reviewed. And there can be some judicial findings or court decisions that may have to be re-examined in one way or another. So that could lead to rough water, as people may be disagreeing on those things, but those matters have still got to be re-examined or re-evaluated as well. At the same time, though, remember, well, okay, we might hit some rough water, but things are going to turn out all right because there are the 4 planets in earth signs and the 4 planets in water signs that are trining each other. And earth and water are very compatible, the same way that fire and air are compatible. So among the earth signs, we have Uranus and Venus in Taurus, which are trining that Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. And among the water signs, we have that Mars, the Moon, and Mercury in Cancer trining that Neptune in Pisces. So actually, after people settle down a little bit, what that means is that people with ruffled feathers can calm down. I mean, we can work on that and listen to their concerns, and then they can calm down. And it also means that business matters can be resolved. So the question then arises, what will it really take to restore trust and bring peace? And some people could be answering, oh, it's going to have to take a miracle. But that miracle could be closer than you think, because when the truth is revealed about some cover-up behind the scenes, then we will be able to deal with that truth, and then we'll be able to make better decisions. And when there are some leadership changes, that can bring stability and trust. Once again, they can be restored. So that can be good for us. So, you know, life isn't perfect. We're going to hit some rough patch somehow this next week. And all I can try to advise you to do is stay calm, because there will be really practical people that will say, wait a minute, we've still got to get down to business or back to basics and solve our problems. And that is actually what can be the outcome of all of this. So that's what you have to look forward to. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think you should be walking on pins and needles this week, and be really careful, Aries, because those 5 planets in the cardinal signs that are opposing each other are all squaring your sign, Aries, because the Moon, Mars, and Mercury in Cancer are squaring your sign, and there are no planets in your sign, and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are also squaring your sign. And so that simply means, Aries, that I think you are walking into some rough water this week. And maybe you're going to be in a good mood, but other people won't be. And there can be things that you have to work on a little bit. You could be subject to a leadership change in the organization, say for your employer, or some budget changes, or it may be that some financial reward that you had been setting up for yourself is delayed or postponed. And that, to me, that means that there could be something in a retirement fund, some investments that sort of fluctuate, and that could have an effect on you. And then also it can simply be that people in authority are not really listening, or can be wanting to control others, and that can be making some other people angry or mad. And so be real careful this week, Aries, not to get caught in the middle of somebody else's fight, because that could really happen to you, and that would make you the target of all of them. So this is a week for you to sort of lay low if you can, Aries, and try your hardest to see the good in things. But I wouldn't try to argue with anybody right now about anything. You are not aspected to win an argument, so I urge you not to get in one. Save it for another day. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, you're still really living right, Taurus, and that is because there are no planets in the other fixed signs to square or oppose your sign. And Venus, your own ruler, is still there. It's not staying there. It's at 27 degrees. So it's going to move on into Gemini. But it is in your sign now, and so is Uranus, and they are trining Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. And that simply means that you're probably one of those realistic, practical people that is going to say, wait a minute, we've still got to get down to business or get back to basics and just do our jobs. And that is probably going to make you very popular right now, Taurus, if you're just simply practical. And if you do things in a simple, common sense way, that is really going to work for you, and you won't face any opposition either. You can be interested in doing something that is part-time or rather temporary because the sun is in Gemini right ahead of your sun sign. And all of the planets in Cancer, the three that are in that water sign, the Moon, Mars, and Mercury, are all sextiling your sun. So I think that this is going to be a good week for you to make steady, slow progress. And it will be progress. In other words, even if you're taking small steps, they will be successful. So I don't think you're necessarily going to run into rough waters, because I don't think you want anything to do with over-emotional, angry people. Just keep your eyes on the prize, Taurus, and go forward just one step at a time, because I think you're going in the right direction. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, the sun is in your sign, and once again, it is surrounded by a lot of other planets. In fact, Mars, the Moon, and Mercury in Cancer are sextiling your sun on one side, and Uranus and Venus are sextiling your sun on the other side. That's really good for you. It means, since these planets have backup, that they can surround you with a lot of their strength, and that means, Gemini, that you can go forward right now. It's just that I don't want you to head in the wrong direction. And the wrong direction would be to try to take sides in somebody else's fight. And believe me, there can be a lot of hurt feelings this week due to different home or real estate or family matters, and you need to stay out of it, Gemini. Don't take sides. Don't even comment on something this week. Your sign rules communication, so of course you'd have an opinion about everything, but this is not the week to let people know what your opinions are, Gemini, because you are being seen in a very favorable light, and you do have a lot of strength around you. And so why don't you just enjoy that, Gemini? There aren't any planets in the other air signs. There's nothing supporting your sign, but there is, you're sort of in the right company right now, or you're doing the right things. So stick to what will do you some good and stay out of everything else if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, just a second. Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. What it means for you is that with the Moon, your own ruler, and Mars and Mercury in your sign, it's you that could be hitting some rough water this week, because you could either be very, very busy and get a little too tired because you're stressed out, or it can be that you have a very different viewpoint on a family matter or a real estate matter, and you could be wanting to voice your opinions, and you could deeply resent the decisions of leaders or management or people who take care of budgets in large corporations or government agencies. You could feel that there's something unfair going on and that they want to control you. Okay, so that is a pretty big problem. So I'm pretty sure you're going to hit rough water. But at the same time, if it's not you, that it's somebody pretty close to you, Cancer, and you might want to get right in there and sort of help them out or take their side. And of course, it could be even a loved one that either you are in disagreement with, or they could be in disagreement with somebody else, and you could be helping them with that. But what is that going to do for you, Cancer? It could just get you sort of really upset right now. And it would be easy for you to say too much or to overreact with Mars in your sign. And Saturn and Pluto are opposing the three planets in your sign. You could be over emotional, and you could really do or say something you would greatly regret. That is why you have to really keep a lid on your emotions this week, Cancer. And the good news is, with Neptune and Pisces trining the planets in your sign, you really could know a lot more about what's going on behind the scenes. You could be instrumental in seeing that a cover-up is revealed. And, you know, if it is revealed and the truth comes out, you could be saying to yourself, oh, I knew that all along. But this is simply not the week to overreact. So you're going to have to try very hard to keep yourself calm and get through it, because practical problems will be solved. And that's what you should concentrate on. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo, This is a time when I think that there can be a lot going on behind the scenes in your life because the Moon, Mars, and Mercury in Cancer are right behind your sun sign. Okay, so it looks to me as if there is some sort of a problem that has to do with family matter, or with some sort of a relationship, or with a real estate matter, and it's not going too smoothly. And so you could be sort of stressed out about that, Leo. And there are not a lot of planets in fire signs right now. Jupiter is in Sagittarius trining your sun, but it's retrograde or a little bit weaker. And so you can either be embroiled in what's going and argue about what's going on behind the scenes in your life with other people. I mean, you could be upset, but that is not going to resolve the issue, Leo. You could help somebody with their problem. Now that would be good. But for you to just jump in and start fighting with somebody, or letting their anger transfer to you, I suggest that you don't do that. And the reason why is it's going to end up costing you money, Leo. And the reason why is that Venus and Uranus and Taurus are squaring your sun. And so very suddenly the cost of something could go up, or fees could go up. Something could go wrong, and that is why you have to be as non-committal as you can. Now, I suggest that you go ahead and do whatever you're planning to do. Just be really quiet about it right now, Leo. That's the best way to succeed. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think that things are going to be, problems will be solved for you. In fact, you could be instrumental in solving a problem, and that's because Venus and Uranus and Taurus are trining your sun, and so are Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So it simply means that you're the one that could say, hey, cut all this arguing out and let's get down to basics, or let's make sure that we're going forward and making progress in a practical way. You could assist with that. You could even have the answer to some problem that everyone else is fighting about, and it could be a simple, common sense answer. So stick to what you do best right now, Virgo. And generally, Virgos don't like to hog the limelight. They're a little bit modest. Even when you're being successful, you're sort of modest about things. And I think that you should sort of keep your head down, say what you have to say, and stay out of everything else this week, because I think people are going to listen to you, Virgo. And you could end up being the big winner, even though all you were trying to do was solve a problem. So I hope you do that. Just be quiet and go forward anyway, because that's what people need now, is a calm voice, one that has some good answers, and I think you will. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when, just like Aries, oh boy, do you need to be careful. And that's because those 5 planets in the cardinal signs are all opposing each other, and they are definitely squaring your sign, Libra, because the Moon, Mars, and Mercury in Cancer are squaring your sun sign, and so are Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So if you wanted to get in an argument, you are really going to lose it, Libra. And besides, yours is the sign of peace. You don't like to get in fights. That isn't really what makes you happy. And so luckily, remember I said with the trine in the earth signs and the trine in the water signs, that people with ruffled feelings can calm down. It's just that I think you should, instead of trying to calm them down, Libra, you should wait until they're calm and then try to bring peace in some way, which is what you're good at. You're good at diplomacy. You're good at making suggestions that, both sides can agree with. But that is not, you're not going to be able to do that at first. You may be successful doing that after they have calmed down. But don't walk into somebody else's fight this week. You've got to wait till things cool off before you can make your point. The sun in Gemini is trining your sun sign. That means you have a lot more happiness going on a trip, or trying some short or temporary effort, or even making a move somewhere in your neighborhood. Those things could work out really well. So do what's good for you this week and avoid people that are upset. They're only going to make you upset, so I don't think you'd like that. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think that you are going to be able to understand a cover-up, understand who's behind a cover-up, and that is because of the 4 planets in water signs that are all trining your sun sign. And so the Moon, Mars, and Mercury in Cancer are trining your sun sign, and so is Neptune in Pisces. And so it simply means that either you're going to have the ability to calm people down, that would be good, or you're going to be able to learn the truth about something that had been hidden behind the scenes, and that will help to restore trust and bring peace, which is good. Unless you were doing something behind the scenes, and then that truth would come out, and there would probably be some financial delay or postponement of some money that you had been expecting due to the hidden truth that comes out. So I don't know how that's going to work out for you, but you should be able to actually benefit by the truth coming out, because then people can work with that. And then they can get over it too, which is good. And so I think that if you don't quarrel with anybody and you don't get into somebody else's fight, then you have you're in the best position to come out well at the end, whenever the end is. All right, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, Jupiter is retrograde in your sign, and it's part of this harsh T-cross among mutable signs that indicate that people can't trust each other very well, or that educational or legal matters have to be reviewed. So Neptune in Pisces is squaring that Jupiter in your sun sign, and so is the Sun in Gemini. So I think you're going to have to wait on something that you want to do right now. And the reason why you'll have to wait is because the people that are normally pretty agreeable and flexible, and they can see somebody else's point of view, which is what you like to do, Sagittarius, they're not really willing to do that at the moment. And there is some rough water. There are reasons why people can be upset right now. And so I think you're going to have to postpone something, or if you wanted to do something, start something new, I think that you're going to be able possibly to start a little bit of it, but not all of it at the moment. You might have to wait until the end of summer to do that instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you can sort of have the best of both worlds, I hope, because you could be involved in rough water this week, because that Mars and the Moon and Mercury in Cancer are all opposing Saturn and Pluto in your own sun sign. So you really do have to watch out for some danger, or some people who are angry or overwrought that are in a home situation or a family situation, or just around you. It could be around where you live, and it could involve a real estate matter as well. And so you have to be very, very careful that you do not encourage people. And so if you suspect that there is a little bit of danger around you somewhere, Capricorn, you really have to sort of cool it, or just not interact with anybody that you think could be threatening to you, because you would be right, they would be a threat. At the same time, though, after their feelings have calmed down a little bit, with Venus and Uranus and Taurus trining that Saturn and Pluto in your sun sign, it simply means that you can move forward with an investment matter or some sort of work effort that can turn out pretty well for you. It even can be something that you had been delaying for a long time, and now it can go forward as soon as everyone is calmed down. So on one hand, you have to watch out for your own safety. On the other hand, you can make progress in your career. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when it is going to benefit you a lot if you sort of take on something that is temporary or part-time, or you decide to work with young people, because that Sun in Gemini is trining your Sun, which is wonderful. And yours is a fixed sign, and there are no planets in any of the fixed signs except Uranus and Venus in Taurus, which are squaring your sun sign. And so you may want to be involved in people that want to do something practical, that they want to solve problems, or they just want to get down to business. Well, that is possible, but instead I think you should lighten up a little bit, and because it could be whatever they want could be a little bit more than you can afford right now, Aquarius. It could be a little too costly for you. So instead, why don't you make plans that are a little more short term and not as expensive and still can be very successful. You could also be very successful working with young people right now. So take the short route, Aquarius, because I think you'll really enjoy that. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think that in one way or another, you're probably going to benefit from the rough water. And that is because there can be a good outcome after things have calmed down. And the good outcome could be that you learn the real truth about something that had been going on behind the scenes. Well, that either the truth is about others in a family situation or a real estate matter, or it can be that you are finally deciding to really understand your feelings a little better and explain the truth to others. That would be good too. But at the same time, with the Sun in Gemini squaring your Sun and Jupiter in Sagittarius squaring your Sun sign, it simply means that you may not know who to trust. So you have to verify information before you believe it. Because remember, somebody can be saying they want to do something for you when actually they have a hidden agenda and maybe wanting to do something against you. So be careful and trust but verify. And that way, some problem, once people have calmed down, can be solved, and maybe you can be instrumental in helping that happen. I hope so, at least. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show, read our blog, and hear our podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.